Hey everybody, thank you so much for clicking on this video and welcome back. Today, this is going to be an update on both my writing and the channel. From time to time, I give these updates, and today it's felt a bit past due. And so I'm going to start with the most important update, which is the Write Everyday video series is going to be ending. 2 years ago, when I was in a writing slump, a channel that was about writing every day was not only necessary, but something that I felt would get me back on track and offer a little bit of benefit to the viewers. Having done this now for 600 days, almost 2 years, the habit has been instilled, right? There's no longer any kind of necessity to record these things. I'm there. I'm writing every day. It's not necessary. And the content is just not very engaging. Obviously, I'm only getting a couple of views per video on each one of those vlogs, sometimes not at all, which is, again, absolutely fine. I understood that at the time. But now I want to start offering people a bit more value and a bit more entertainment, I guess. And so what I'm going to be doing is ending that series. No longer will you see me just sitting at the computer typing away. What you're going to start seeing now is more content related to education. So what I plan to do is keep up all of my authors bantering series. That weekly series will continue, as well as my weekly chess stream, which I'll go more into in a minute. And instead just do one video lesson a week rather than doing a daily vlog. One of the big things and one of the big reasons why I'm getting rid of that Write Everyday series is because that vlog was a lot of content that was not very useful to you all. Occasionally I'd have some writing advice, some tips, what have you, but a lot of it, especially as of late, has been more just general updates on where I'm at. And I know there's a few of you that follow along with this and are enjoying it, and I thank you so much. But I want to create content that gives more away, that gives more value back to you all, rather than you all just follow me just for the sake of following me. And so a weekly video series where I'm going to be doing some writing lessons is going to be, I think, far beneficial for everybody. And it gets back to more of my long-term view when I started this channel of wanting to give back to you all. Now, with that, I'm also going to be keeping my chess stream up, but it's going to be changing a little bit. And so what I'm going to do, instead of just recording it ahead of time and putting on here, I'm actually going to be doing live streams. So I'll be doing a weekly live stream of chess. I am not certain of the date yet, of what day of the week, but it's going to be basically a regular live stream where you all can basically come in, watch me play chess, kind of chat with me here, while I play, and I can just answer, again, basic questions, go over any kind of topics you guys want, and just get a chance to connect with you all. So now that we have the chess content and the channel lessons, Write Everyday content out of the way, I'm going to briefly go into where I'm at with my writing projects. Really appreciate you all following along with me on this journey, and it has been excellent. Just the few comments that I get on this channel have meant a ton to me, and so I always want to give you guys updates on where we're at with this. To start with, so the self-publication of my novel Crease, I've talked about it since back in January, right, when I decided to go through the self-publishing process. I mentioned that obviously I was planning to do it this year. I had spent all summer getting everything ready. I now have even the audiobook files, which is awesome. That sounds great. I cannot wait for everyone to check that out. So I have all these things in place. The only thing I realistically need at this point is probably just the cover, the actual cover design for the book, and then it's ready to go. And my initial intention, or my original idea, was that I wanted this to come out in November. But for those that have followed along, I mentioned that I was also involved in a competition right now for my other novel, Going Over. That novel right now is in a competition over in the UK, and basically the requirement is that it is a competition for unpublished authors. I suppose that means unpublished writers, but you get what I mean. So with it being designed as a competition for someone who's unpublished, I technically cannot have a published book, even if it's self-published, to my name. What that means is that I need to hold off on self-publishing until I know if I've won. I was under the impression that it would be sometime this fall that I would find out. For some reason, I thought maybe it would be September, but who knows? What that realistically translates to is I need to give myself at least till the end of the year to find out. I can't realistically self-publish until early next year. I'm looking at potentially February or March. Which brings me to now my novel, Going Over. So this is the second novel, the one in the competition. I'll give an update on where that is, and then I will kind of mention why the self-publishing needs to wait as well, because there's a second reason too. Right now, Going Over is in that competition, and hopefully it wins. But I'm also right now doing a complete... I wouldn't say complete, but I'm doing a pretty detailed rewrite of about half the book. It's one of my characters, their voice I don't quite like, so I'm going through and I'm basically doing a rewrite of it. Content-wise, everything stays the same. It's simply just the voice. I'm updating the voice. And this type of work, as you've seen, if you've been following this, like the vlog here, it's basic kind of stuff, right? Like in the sense of, some of it is just altering kind of how the sentence sounds, making the voice sound a bit more active. The challenge with this whole thing has been that I've created a protagonist that at the beginning of the novel is passive as a character. They're basically a doormat as a character. And then the story is more or less them going to kind of the other end of the spectrum, right? They go from being passive to being extremely aggressive and reckless and all that stuff in this kind of very wide character, arc here. And it's awesome, but the voice sounds a bit too passive. Even though the character is that you want your voice to still be active, you want people to be interested in this person. So I've been going through and updating a lot of their voice, and yeah, a lot of it is just basic stuff, making it sound a little bit more active, but some of the rewrites have been a bit more extensive. For those that may wonder, well, if it's in the competition right now and it's doing pretty well, why are you making changes to this? Good question. The best I can answer is it's good, but I'm always anticipating that it's not going to work out for me, that I'm not going to win, and that I want to have an even better work to send off next time. When it comes to novels, you tend to grow alongside them. So what's really good for you and what you consider to be a really strong work a year ago, you come back to a year later and you realize it could be improved even more. Which brings me to why I am self-publishing Crease early next year. Right now, I'm going to be going to a conference out in San Francisco next year. It's a San Francisco Writers Conference. I think it's maybe the biggest one in the US. I'm not sure, but it is very celebrated. And there's some pitch events. There is some agents and editors there who basically I am going to try and make a pitch for this story. I'm assuming that I will not win this competition that I'm in. I just going in knowing it's not, thinking it's probably not going to happen. And so this is my next step, right? The next step forward, basically. Certainly if I win the competition, I don't mind having paid a fee, whatever, for, for this conference here and not having it worked out. I'm fine with that. But this conference is going to be in February, and basically self-publishing Crease before then, I fear might create a bit of a complication, because they're going to ask, have you ever self-published a work before? And I'm going to say yes. And they're going to ask about sales, about how I've done with the marketing, etc. And if I self-publish something only a few months in, sales not be great. My audience will not have grown, I don't think, substantially from that. So to avoid complications and all that stuff, I plan to go into this conference with no publications under my belt and present myself as a fresh author, with the plan that if this conference doesn't work out, if I don't get an agent, I will then go on and self-publish Crease right after this. I guess going back to my original thing with Crease, that's going to get self-published at some point in late February, early March. I'll give you a better idea as we get closer, but it's going to be after the conference. The last thing is the short story collection. For those that are maybe new, I've been working on a collection of short stories. Basically, it's an interconnected series of stories surrounding a small town that is rocked by a mass shooting, and it deals with the lives of the students, the teachers, the grieving parents, and really the town in general, and how they deal with their grief and how they come together as a town in unity. These stories will be written as things open up for me, as I have time. It's kind of a small side project. I have about 5 or 6 stories done now, and I'm hoping maybe to get to about 10. So I have about 4 more to do, and my hope is to have those done by the end of next year. This collection, unfortunately, the content, because it deals with something like a mass shooting, it's hard to get a lot of this published, even if I'm coming from the angle of the not positive, but I guess the redemptive angle for the characters. I'm coming at it from the side of hope, I guess, in a way. Even coming from that angle, the content and the subject matter is just very, very taboo, and people are not necessarily willing to always cover that. So it'll be a bit more difficult to get stuff published, so I'm not putting all of my effort into it, unfortunately. But I'll add to it. I like the collection. I'm going to keep adding to it. And my hope is, again, in the next year or so, I start getting more of these stories published, and I actually have a full collection. I might just end up self-publishing the entire collection, even if no one like No Lit Mag ever picks up any of these stories. And that's it. So thank you so much for watching this. I do want to do a quick thank you to you all as well, just for being an awesome fan base. I don't care how small my audience is. You guys are awesome. Even the few comments that I get go a long ways towards kind of keeping me motivated to keep this channel going. And I'm hoping that over the next few months to obviously grow the channel, but I'm hoping too that you guys get a lot more out of this. I hope this is a lot more engaging of a channel. I hope I'm producing more content that you guys find to be something worth your time, something worth watching. And so I'll leave it at that and sign off here. Thank you again for watching this, and yeah. Next week is my first teaching video. I hope you all enjoy it.